So hello! On this channel we talk about independent spirituality and folk magic for free spirits. My name is Aster and today we are going to talk about spiritual protection. It is very hot, summer is here full force, and I refuse to wear any makeup. The world is gonna have to deal with my bare face today. And yes, let's go. No, on this video, you're not gonna see one more person talking about sigils and juniper and like sage and witch bottles. No, on this video I am bringing my cultural background to inform the world about other forms of protection. And yes, any person can use everything that I am going to mention in this video. It's not like forbidden or appropriative. You're gonna learn some classical Brazilian protections that I have learned growing up. And yes, rest assured that you can use them as well, even if you don't have any kind of link, any kind of Brazilian heritage, okay? Wait a minute. Before we start, let's take a minute to hear a word from today's sponsor, which is myself. Did you know that I have opened a store? Yeah, that's right. Over there you can find all my ebooks that contain some juicy bits of occult knowledge that I share, and you don't want to miss out on that. And also private readings that combine tarot and Lenormand cards, as you already know them, with some extra spice of Afro-Brazilian knowledge. But the best part is that the products on the store start at only $3. Oh, and by the way, if you didn't know, I'm also on Patreon. And over there I share extra exclusive content like spell tutorials, behind the scenes of my life, exclusive Patreon videos, unfiltered book reviews, weekly readings, and much more for only 1 cup of coffee per month. So if you like what I do on the internet and would like to support my work somehow, check out the links in the description to take a look at everything that I offer. Now, with that being said, let's get back to the video. So we are going to break this video down in a few different topics. We are going to discuss why to protect and what do you protect against, protective herbs and crystals, personal protection of yourself and others, protection of the home, general tips, and book recommendations, okay? So let's start from the start. Let's begin from the beginning. Why to protect and what do you protect against? So if you are on this channel, chances are that you are a magical practitioner yourself, a witch, a sorcerer, however you like to call yourself. You're probably doing some witchcraft at home, aren't you? And also some other places like crossroads, cemeteries, maybe. Yeah, if you are here, you are probably a practitioner. So when you are practicing magic, you are like putting your fingers beyond the veil, you attract a lot of attention from the unseen. It's like you are this lighthouse that is shining brightly, ever so brightly, in complete darkness. And all the spirits, all the entities, all the whatever the fuck is out there, they are going to notice you. They are going to see you, and they are going to come over to check like what you're doing. Who are you? What's going on? However, you don't want all of those random spirits coming over into your house. No, trust me, you don't want that. So you protect first and foremost to avoid uninvited entities from to keep them from coming over and like hanging around longer than they should, if you know what I mean. But also you are going to protect yourself from attacks, spiritual attacks from like spirits and entities, but also attacks from other practitioners, because that kind of thing happens as well. And also, of course, the classic negative energies, the evil eye, so on and so forth, because even if a person is not practicing witchcraft whatsoever, if they look at you a certain way, they could send like a curse or some very bad energy onto you, and that stuff clings on us. It clings on us. and yeah, a look, an angry word, all of that has power, and in order to keep those things from sticking to us, protection is required. So we're gonna start talking about some protective herbs and crystals. In Brazil, there's this thing that we call vaso de sete ervas, or 7-herb pot, 7-herb flower pot kind of thing. It's like, if you can have all those herbs together in a single vase, like those vertical vases, horizontal, I'm not sure, but they are like long. You can have all the 7 plants like in the same vase, but you can also have them separately. Personally, I prefer to have them separately because each plant is going to have enough space to grow and develop naturally as they should. And I'm gonna list to you the herbs that compose. This is like the basic kit for home warding, for keeping certain energies away, keeping spirits away, so on and so forth. I have mentioned many of those in my video. I think it's called Plants You Didn't Know Were Magical. It is going to be linked up in the description, and no, it's going to be linked up in the cards and also in the description down below in case you haven't seen it already. But those 7 herbs, they are Comigo Ninguém Pode, which is Damscane, Espada de São Jorge, which is snake plant. I have my Damscane is right there, by the way. My snake plant is over there in the corner. Arruda, which means rue. It's the rue plant. And I have a rue that I call RuPaul. It is outside, growing beautifully. I have repotted it. It is amazing. It is so beautiful and lush and vivacious. I am in love. We have also Guiné, a plant that in English is called Guinea handweed. This is a classic, big time classic. Also peppers. If you can have pepper plants at home, they are great protectors, especially against the evil eye and envy. Alecrim, which means rosemary. I have also my rosemary is outside. It is growing. It is like this big because I had a rosemary who died due to low exposure to luminosity. It needs a lot of light, and I kept it inside of the room with the windows closed, so it died because it didn't get enough light. And I planted it again. It took like 30 days for a tiny sprout to come out, and it did come out, and it is growing. It's so cute. I'm so happy. Last but not least, manjericão, which is basil. And I just got myself some seeds. I have to plant these. I can't wait. Basil is amazing. When it comes to crystals, so what are you going to do with those plants? You're just gonna have them around the house. You're just gonna plant them on the ground if you have a garden, or in pots if you don't, or if you want to have them inside. And you're just gonna have them, especially at entrance doors, near windows. They are amazing allies, and some of them can also be used for, like the dried leaves can be used for smudging. We're gonna talk about that in a little bit. Now, when it comes to crystals, my recommendations for you are obsidian, because it breaks the energetical link between you and other people, and it also clears your mind from negative thoughts. I always have an obsidian with me. It's a rainbow obsidian. It has kind of a, I don't know if the camera will catch it, but it has a different shine to it. It is kind of colorful sheen. I really like it. It's a beautiful stone. So I have consecrated this stone for protection, and I always have it with me. But you can also, of course, use black obsidian, which is the classic option. You can also use selenite. I have a selenite wand over there. I don't think the camera is going to catch it, but selenite is great for cleansing energies. Like every time I buy a tarot deck or a deck of cards, whatever, I put it with some incense and the selenite wand on top of it. But you can also use it for cleansing your own energy, cleansing the atmosphere, cleansing a certain room. So selenite. Black tourmaline is another classic when it comes to crystals, because it absorbs the energies lingering around, especially if you have clients of any sort. If you are an energy energy worker, tarot reader, what have you, black tourmaline is going to be your best ally to keep bad energies from people from like lingering around in your space, because the black tourmaline is going to suck it in. Tiger's eye is another great ally. I have one inside the box there. It is very good against envy and to protect your material situation, your profession, so on and so forth. Last but not least, we have black onyx, which is very good for blocking spiritual and psychic attacks. It is also said to help you like keep you grounded and with the feeling of security, so I really recommend this stone as well if you can. Now let's talk about some personal protection, shall we? The first thing, of course, that you can do is to wear talismans and amulets, like I have just shown. Having a crystal on a chain, you can also enchant jewelry for that purpose. Let me get a little something to show you. So for example, if you have been watching my channel for a while, you certainly have seen this ring on my hand. I use it very frequently, and nowadays I use it especially when I go to sleep. This ring is consecrated for protection for me. Protection against the evil eye, protection against whatever, okay? Because I am a magical practitioner, sometimes I do get visited at night when I'm sleeping and some weird stuff happen. And like, I'm not scared of the weird stuff, but I want to sleep the whole night, and those things wake me up. That's the only issue for me. So what I do is to wear my protection ring when I go to bed, and also locking the mirror. I have a mirror right there. I locked it because it was open and I had some interesting experiences because of that. So I locked the mirror and I wear my protection ring in bed when I go to sleep. I also have this little ring here, which is from one of my pombagiras. I also use it for protection purposes. So you can consecrate jewelry for protection purposes. You could have an obsidian ring, you can have a tourmaline ring or earrings or necklace to keep you protected. There's also a protection spell bag that in Brazil we call patua. I already have a video over here on the channel showing how to make a patua of protection. It is going to be linked up in the cards and in the description down below in case you haven't seen it already. Let me just check what was the name that I put on that video. It was called Protection Spell Bag, an easy protection spell for every witch. So on that video I show you how to make a patua from scratch, which is nothing but a spell bag. Patua is a spell bag in Brazil. And all of that, like crystals, enchanted jewelry, what have you, rings, so on and so forth, you can make that for you, and you can also gift it to somebody else. If, I don't know, somebody in your family, a very good friend, a significant other, you can consecrate something with protective properties and give it to somebody to wear. Another thing that you can do is something that we call firming the guardian angel, and I also have a video about that over here on the channel that I'm going to link up in the cards and down in the description for you to check out. It was one of the very first videos that I published on the channel. It is really old. Let me see if I can find it, because I don't remember how the video, like what the video is called. Yeah, I published it a year ago, and it is called How to Have a Relationship with Your Holy Guardian Angel. Connect with them with a simple ritual. That's the video. That's basically what we call firming the guardian angel, and I'm not gonna get into details on how you do that because I teach this on the other video, but that is a regular practice that we do, like I do weekly, and in Brazilian culture that's like, you learn that at least once a week you should do that. There's people who do it every day. I do it once a week, and it is a very important tool for you to keep spiritually protected and to keep that entity that protects you, to keep them sharp and energized. Another thing that I have already mentioned on the channel as well is bath magic. Bath magic is a great way to cleanse out energies that are clinging onto you, and also to replenish your aura, your body, and your mind with new energy. Let me find it. So it's the video how to cleanse and recharge your energy. Break negativity and the evil eye with 3 ingredients. It is going to be linked up in the cards and in the description down below. So Bath Magic is another great ally for you when it comes to protection. Now, protection of the home. Other than having plants around the house, the plants that I have recommended, there are other items that you can keep to have your home well protected. Like for example, there's this little thing that we call carranca. I'm gonna ask the editor to put a picture of it on the screen somewhere, because carrancas, I don't have one because it is something typically Brazilian, and over here in France I don't have access to that. I have seen some on Etsy and Le Bon Coin, which is a second-hand website kind of thing, but it is crazy expensive, so I don't have one. But if you live in Brazil or if you are going to Brazil, I recommend you look for carranca, and when you have it with you, they can be huge, they can be enormous, and they can be like palm hand sized. Once you have them, you can perform a consecration to have protective energies, like even more protective energies attached to it, because a carranca, they already have that purpose of being protective on its own. So if you add a consecration on top of it, you're just like strengthening a property that the object already has, and like adding in your own energy to it, which is a win-win situation. Another thing very popular for protection of the home is something that we call figa, which are little thingies like this, usually carved in wood. Like for example, in Guinea, the little wood from the plant Guinea, the plant that I have just mentioned previously, Guinea handweed. Some people take the wood from that plant and carve the little hand doing like this. This is a protective talisman that people have around the house. Again, I don't have it over here because in France, so far at least, I wasn't able to find one. But if you can, that's also something that you could have consecrated for protection and hang it somewhere. I am considering maybe doing an embroidered figa. That could be a good idea. By the way, how do we call this in English? I have no idea. Let me know in the comments. Another classic is the horseshoe. Again, I don't have a horseshoe because I haven't come across one yet, but I am considering buying one somewhere. I have found some online and I am considering. It is a classic to hang a horseshoe on top of the door, not only because of the horseshoe in itself on the format and everything, but also because it is made out of iron, which is a very protective metal. Another classic thing is called bate-folha, which basically means leaf smacking. So you're gonna get some fresh leaves of some of the plants that I have mentioned earlier. You could get Guinea, you could get Comigo Ninguém Pode, you could get the plant, the protective plant of your choice. You get a good amount of the fresh leaves and you just go around the house beating the walls with the plant. That's it. This procedure will keep the house protected and also like get out any unwanted energies that are lingering. Another classic is to have salt on the 4 corners of your house. So you're going to imagine what are the 4 corners of your house, and you're gonna have a little bit of salt on each part, on each corner. Over here, because I have flatmates, I don't do that on the entire house, but I do it inside my bedroom. So in the 4 corners of my bedroom, there is a pile of salt. Something else that you can do to cleanse out and protect your home is smudging. And you can use all the plants that I have mentioned at the plants and crystals section of the video. You can use all of them, like to burn them around the house to clear out energies. If you have flatmates, that can be a little bit complicated because not everybody likes the smell of something that was burned, like burned plants around the house. Some people don't like it, and we have to respect. But regardless of having flatmates, sometimes I do smudge the entire house because, well, I am here, I am doing spiritual work, and it is good spiritual hygiene to do a smudging in the entire house every now and then. Another plant that I like to use that was not mentioned at the beginning of the video is juniper. So yeah, because I am in the northern hemisphere, juniper is very abundant, and at the beginning of my practice over here in Europe, I didn't have the plants that I have now, so juniper was a very good ally for me when it came to protection. So maybe if you are a Brazilian living somewhere else like me, and you haven't found yet the plants that you had access to when you were in Brazil, juniper is a very good ally when it comes to protection, but rosemary is also very accessible. You can buy it at the supermarket, right? But anyway, just wanted to give the tip of juniper because it is a very good one. Now, floor washes. Floor washes are a classic across cultures, just like smudging, but of course, you can do an herbal mixture of all the plants that I have mentioned in the video. You can like smash them down, if not smash them down, but you can like do like this into the water when they are fresh and make kind of a green juice out of the plants, or you can simply do some kind of infusion situation if the plants are dried. Yeah, you can use plants, but something else that we use in Brazil is anil, something known as anil, which is a powder. I looked it up on Google, and apparently in English it is called indigo powder. So you can add a little bit of that into the floor wash that you're going to apply in the house and just wash all the floors with it, and that's great protection. Last but not least, yes, locking mirrors. If you are a spiritual practitioner, I mean, you can leave the mirrors open if you don't mind visits coming, but I had some kind of a disturbing situation the other day that was really unexpected, and I thought to myself, no, I think it is best if I lock that mirror. I'm not gonna get into how to lock a mirror in today's video. Maybe I'm gonna take that tip over to Patreon because I have my own special way of doing it that all the other witches on the interwebs don't know about, okay? Because they're not Brazilian. That comment was so condescending, I'm sorry. But it's, yeah, I have a different way of doing it. I've seen many things online and I don't do it like that. But it's so short. I think I could publish it on Patreon one of these days. At first, I wanted to leave the mirror unlocked just to see what would happen. And then I found out what would happen and I decided to lock it. Another thing that you can do is to craft your own protective amulets. Like over there, let me move the camera. Over there, there's a little like situation on the wall with things that I made myself with my little hands, and they are consecrated for protection and prosperity. Now let's take a look at some general tips. I think that when it comes to protection, the best amulet, the best talisman that you can wear is to not be a jerk, to not be an asshole, to be respectful to all beings, living or dead, because then you don't go around the world giving others reason to hate you and want to curse your ass down to the ground, okay? So being a nice person costs $0, and on top of that, it's gonna avoid other people from, like, yeah, it is for free to be a nice person, and on top of that, you're gonna decrease your chances of being cursed or hexed by others, or to like get some spirit angry at you and want to like come over and kick your ass. So all of this that I have mentioned in this video, they are protective measures, which means that they are prevention. They are things that you do before you have any kind of problem. They are things that should be set up and put up there in place to be like your shield if something comes your way. Okay? And it's like the saying goes, better safe than sorry. So you should have multiple different protections put up around you, not only inside your house, but also on your person when you are outside on the go. Because if you don't have anything, you will attract, I mean, at the beginning of my practice, I wasn't aware enough about protection, and I had some interesting experiences because of that. I didn't have enough protections on and I got hauntings, yeah, it is part of the learning curve, part of the learning process, of course. But if I would give you a bit of advice, would be to protect before you have a problem. It's best to protect than to defend. A little protection goes a long way, but having many different layers of protection is best. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that when it comes to protection, I see that practitioners online usually are very discreet, let's say, about what they do for protection, and they don't really want to mention what they're using. I mean, there's no problem in saying what you use, okay? As long as you don't mention everything. Like the things that I have mentioned so far, there is no problem people knowing what you do for protection. Really, there's no problem. But if you feel that a certain something should be kept in secret, do it, okay? You are the judge. Now we're coming to the book recommendation section, and I mean, all of this that I have shared in the video, it is oral tradition. It is stuff that has been passed down generation after generation, one person teaching, showing, telling the next how to do. So there isn't really a book, no, there isn't a book about spiritual protection in Brazilian folk magic. No, there's no such a thing. But I did think about 3 books of protection in general that I would like to recommend to you. One of them is the classic Protection and Reversal Magic by Jason Miller. It's a great book. I've read it a couple of years ago and I still love it. I really like Jason Miller's work. I am a big fan, a big admirer, and of course I would mention his book over here. It really helped me when I was dealing with the haunting situation I've had when I was an au pair in Paris. I'm gonna link that video over here. It was the first episode of Spooky Tales, so it's gonna be up in the cards and down in the description for those who haven't seen it already. So Jason Miller's book was really helpful to me when I had that little situation. Another book that I have to mention is Psychic Witch by Matt Oren. That book is very complete because it tackles many different aspects of being a spiritual practitioner, of being a witch, and one of them, of course, is protection. There is a chapter, a section, now I'm not really sure because it's been a while since I've read that book, but there's a whole section of the book dedicated to protection and how to go about it. So that's definitely a book I recommend you read. And by the way, all the books that I am going to mention here, they will be linked in the description in case you want to check them out and maybe buy them. And last but not least, I recommend Magical Protection by Damon Brand. That's a book from the collection, I think it is called... Wait a minute, I have those books, why don't I show them to you? So here we go. Protection and Reversal Magic by Jason Miller. Psychic Witch by Matt Oren. Great book. I have very fond memories of the time when I was reading it. And Magical Protection by Damon Brand. So it says here, defend against curses, gossip, bullies, thieves, demonic forces, violence, threats, and psychic attack. That's a lot of stuff. This book is from the collection known as The Gallery of Magic. I have some books by The Gallery of Magic. They are over here. And they are very interesting books. They have a very interesting approach to magic and how to do things. They are very ritualistic, in my opinion, so I didn't really stick a lot to what they teach, but I think it's still interesting. So if you have a more ceremonial approach to your practice, I think that you could enjoy not only this book, Magical Protection, but also the other books by The Gallery of Magic, where they talk about other subjects. And how about you? What do you do for protection of your home, of your person? What is it that you do that I haven't mentioned here? Maybe you have some other hidden tip, some other thing that is interesting. Let us know in the comments below. And thank you so much for watching. I hope that this video can be useful to you. And remember, practice makes perfect. So let's get witching. Bye bye.